Good evening everybody, and welcome to our transition evening video. I am really sorry that we can't invite you all into the school at this present time, but this video I hope will reassure you that we're doing our very best to make sure that your son and daughter can continue with their education and catch up on any time that has been lost at all. Each video will be bespoke to your particular child's academic year group, and it will give you an opportunity to meet the key staff that are involved in supporting your child during this academic year, and for us to convey that key information that is important for them and relevant to them at their particular stage in their studies. My role here is the priority is to ensure that every child is making progress in the school, but also my key priority at the moment is to keep everybody safe and to keep the school operational. I am therefore asking at the beginning of this video for us to consider the situation at the moment and ask for your support with us in ensuring that all of our safety guidelines are adhered to talk to your child about that, to ensure that they do have a face covering when they come to school here every single day, to ensure that their journey is to travel directly to and from school. And the community police have asked me to convey that message, that it is really important that students aren't congregating at the end of the school day or before the school day as well. Our students here in the main have been absolutely brilliant in the way that they've adopted our safety routines. They're complying with our zones, and they are wearing the face coverings in the internal spaces, and they have absolutely come back bursting with enthusiasm to be back at school. As a school, we're all delighted to have them back, and that's why I want to keep the school open and operational, and that's why I really need your support in ensuring that your child fully understands the implications of our safety routines and why it absolutely is so important that we all keep to them and follow them through. Now, our learning platform has been to use extensively the Google platform and the Google Classroom, and this worked really well for us during lockdown. Since we've been back, we're continuing to post all of our work into our Google Classrooms. And this will also mean that if your child is away from school because they are self-isolating, then they should have full access to the Google Classroom and all the work that is being set to enable them to continue. The Google Classroom will also form a massive part of our contingency plan should we have to have part or a full closure. If we do have to send a bubble home, then your child can expect a combination of the Google assignments with live video recorded lessons being put into there, and actually assignments that they can then continue to work on. And it will also include a combination of live lessons as appropriate. Now, these will vary by year group. They will vary by the staff capacity that we have and the staff availability that we do have at these times. But all year groups will continue with their curriculum, and we will support them to ensure that they can catch up and that we can cover all the essential work that they need for this year. Can I also ask that if at this moment your child doesn't have access to IT at home and you are suffering any financial difficulties, then please do contact us at the school, because the government has provided additional funding for us to help those students and to help you to ensure that your child doesn't miss out on any important education as we move forward. Now, each year group will have its own specific needs for their year group. Our younger students are transitioning into secondary school, and middle school is resettling in after such a period of being away. And then our exam groups are becoming a primary focus for us, because obviously we're looking towards their exams in 21. As it stands at the moment, the government has not given any special consideration or concessions to the way that those examinations will be held. So it is our primary job at the moment to focus on ensuring that those students are prepared, that they're ready, that we do have the regular assessments on them, and that they are fully prepared. And the year 11s and 13s especially, we will work really hard to ensure that their curriculum is not disrupted and that we can give them all the support that we can to move them on to the next stage, whether that be their sixth form, university or work. Now, this is quite a difficult time, but here at school, we've embraced it. We're back to normal. The students are really engaging with their lessons, and it is absolutely wonderful to have the school back alive and full of students. But we want to keep it that way, and we want to continue to be able to offer that level of education that we've always had. So please, I ask for your support with our safety plans. I ask for your support out there in the community. And I hope that this evening will really give you a further sense of the amount of work that is going on to support every year group in every different age group, and to make sure that your sons and daughters are incredibly well catered for and looked after here at Roding Valley, which is exactly what we want to continue to do. Thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope that you do find the rest of these videos informative. Thank you. And if you do have any questions, please don't ever hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much.
Let me extend my welcome to you all, to Year 11 students, parents and carers. So we are at the next stage on the 7-year journey through Roding Valley, and we are now at, if you like, stop 5 on the 7-year step. Year 11 will bring with it lots of new things, including thinking about the future, planning for what happens at the age of 16, post-16, looking towards GCSEs. And this evening is all about how we can help you and how we will be working with you over the next year to prepare you for life in the sixth form, or for going to college, or to the world of work, whichever is most appropriate for you. Our vision for the school remains that we want all our young people to aspire to be the best that they can, to have respect for one another and for those around them, and to endeavour to become the best that they can be. Our results this summer obviously were slightly different because there weren't the exams in the same way. However, our calculated grades for 2020 showed continued success at both grade 4 and above in English and Maths, and at grade 5 and above in English and Maths. And the graph shows the journey that the school has been on over the last couple of years and compares with where we were last year, and then also the national picture for last summer, 2019, as well as Essex in 2019. A reminder that grade 4 is the level that students must attain before going into post-16, and if not, they would have to resit it in college or similar. And grade 5 is a strong pass and is equivalent to a high C and a low B on the old grading system. We're incredibly proud of all our students, but we did have some exceptional performances this summer. Ewan Briggs, for example, who got 6 grade 9s, 3 grade 8s and 1 grade 7. Jaden Patel, Tom, as also Bo Green, Toby Hamid, to name just a few. And obviously this just is a snapshot of what was achieved this summer. A record-breaking 6% of all grades were awarded at grade 9, which is more than double the national average. Remember, grade 9 is the highest GCSE grade with attainment above what was an old A star. Grade 7 is the equivalent of an A on the old grading system as well. In terms of year 13, we had a number of students go off either to university or to start high-level apprenticeships. Mashra, Maisha and Alex are 3 examples of students who went off with high grades at A-level to study maths at Warwick, or maths at Imperial College, and Maisha, who's going to New York to continue her studies. Some of our students were successful in achieving places with high-level apprenticeships or sponsored degrees with example companies such as Ernst & Young, with Hill and with KPMG. And other students explored other avenues, for example Hannah, who went off to do a legal secretary course. Many of our year 13 students were successful in securing places at some of the best universities in the UK. Just to name a few of them, doing a variety of subjects such as Morgan going to Sussex to study biology, or Samaya to do biomedical science in Dundee, George to do musical theatre, Emma to do geography, Millie to do history, Nicole to go and do primary education, Tom looking at engineering. ASHA, politics. The range is huge. Luby going to Sussex to study psychology with criminology. It shows the diversity and opportunities that have opened up through their life in the sixth form. So who is going to be working with you to support your child? Obviously, there's me, who oversees the curriculum and progress, Miss Dyer, who works with the students on character and culture, the other deputy head, and then Mr. Vermark, Mr. Price, Mr. Ryan, your progress leader, Mr. Fletcher, who is the director of sixth form and covering Miss Wheaton's maternity leave, and Mrs. Mason, who is our careers development manager. All of these people will be there to work with you and the students through the next year, helping them to achieve the best that they can throughout their studies and the other things that we have to offer.
Hello there, my name is Miss Larkin and I'm going to be talking to you about some hopefully top tips on how to support your son or daughter in this really crucial time in their education. I'm obviously one of the assistant head teachers here in charge of teaching and learning, and hopefully you find this useful. So first of all, where do we start with all this, and how can you actually help to support them at home during this incredibly crucial time in their school journey? Well, the first place you might want to start is taking a look at our curriculum offer and what topics and skills we focus on at different stages in the year. And we call these our skills curriculum maps, and we have these available for every single subject that your son or daughter may study at GCSE level. So essentially, they're self-explanatory. They outline what topics are covered in each term with the skills and the assessment that they get given at that term as well. These are incredibly useful for parents to access so you know what's going on in the classroom on a day-to-day basis. If you'd like to find our curriculum maps per subject, all you need to do is go to the curriculum tab of our website and you can access them all there per subject and obviously per qualification, so GCSE, A-level, or of course Key Stage 3. So when you've actually accessed that, how do you actually put all this into practice and how do you actually support your child at home? A really good place to start, after you've looked at what topics we cover, is to access something called the Personalised Learning Checklist. And we call these PLCs in school. Now, you may have already heard of these, and because your son or daughter may have communicated about these previously. They are all available, again, on our website. And you'll find these under the tab How to Help Your Child, but you'll also find them under the Revision tab as well, where there's so much information and so many resources for you guys to download for free. The PLCs are an excellent tool. They're an outline of all the subtopics that make up each individual GCSE subject. They essentially outline the course in its entirety. Now, they're a really good resource to help plan revision notes and prepare for examinations, because what PLCs do, they allow your child to be able to red, amber and green their understanding. Red would mean that this is a bit of an emergency because I don't really know much about that topic. Amber would sort of signal that you're okay with the information, and green would obviously mean that you're very confident. What this does is it helps your son or daughter to be able to organise their revision effectively rather than concentrating on areas that they essentially may not need to because they're already really confident with them. So PLCs are a really good place to start when you're at home trying to encourage your child to start that revision process. Now, whilst I'm on revision, it's obviously important to think about, well, how do we actually use what's gone on in lesson to help with revision too? Now, your son or daughter will be taking so many class notes on a day-to-day basis whilst they're in school, and it's so important that they keep these organised. They'll have obviously an individual book or folder per subject. That will obviously include all of their class notes. It will include any assessments that have been marked and fed back on as well. So all of that needs to be kept extremely safe. We encourage our students to keep their books after they've finished them because they're there to act as their own personalised revision guides as they go forward into that revision process. I also want to bring to your attention that the closing the gap tasks are particularly important for parents to take a look at. Closing the gap tasks are all on yellow paper, and they always take place after an assessment has been done, where students act on the feedback that has been given to them by their class teacher. And these are really good at highlighting any misconceptions and any errors that your child may have done. So it's looking at closing that gap and obviously improving that grade going forward. I also want to take the opportunity to say that some of these closing the gap tasks now will also be put onto Google Classroom, because we're trying to make the most out of the technology, and we're trying to make the most out of the fact that Google Classroom can offer and can be a really good tool for our teachers to give feedback on too. So whilst I'm on Google Classroom then, you're probably all very aware that Google Classroom was a massive part of our lockdown sort of offer, our lockdown curriculum essentially. Now we're going to continue that good work, and we are now using Google Classroom to set all of our home learning tasks on. Okay, so every single piece of homework gets stored onto our Google Classroom. Okay, so we're not using Show My Homework anymore, it is all on here. Now I just want to take this opportunity to share with you that there are two different tiers to when it comes to the home learning provision posted on Google Classroom. The most important aspect of this are the assignments that are posted. Now, all home learning tasks that are to be done at home after a normal school day are labelled as assignments. They will have a clear due date, and they also have clear instruction from that teacher on what your son or daughter needs to do. There's also an option there for your son or daughter to hand in and submit their work on Google Classroom, which we are massively encouraging our students to do, because it keeps an excellent log there of all the tasks that they've done, all the notes are stored safely, so nothing can essentially be lost. But I also want to mention that we're now starting to store all our lesson resources that we actually use in lesson 2, and we're storing this as material. This won't have a due date, as this is not an assignment that needs to be completed, but instead, if your son or daughter has to self-isolate, it is there for them to access at home so they don't miss anything that has gone on in lesson. So essentially, you've got the assignments that is the homework to be completed as an actual piece of work, and the material that is there in case your son or daughter has missed anything in those lessons. I also want to say as well, it's a really good idea to encourage your child to use their to-do list on Google Classroom. We all have one. Us teachers have got access to this as well. And the to-do list organises all the assignments in chronological order, and the students can tick them off as they do them as well, and it helps keep them incredibly organised. Just while I'm on this, there are two ways essentially of submitting your work on Google Classroom, and we don't mind either of these. If your son or daughter wants to handwrite their notes, which lots of them do, that is absolutely fine. Obviously, that really helps them with their exams as well. All they need to do is take a picture of their work on the phone and attach it as a file to the hand-in tab. It's all made very, very clear on the assignment. If they don't want to handwrite, they can also use Google Docs. Now, everyone's got access to Google Docs because we've all got access to Google Mail. And it gives you an option on Google Classroom to attach a Google document, and then the students can type up their work as notes and submit that too. And that's actually a really nice way of submitting their home learning, because teachers can directly comment then on that Google Doc and make corrections for them and give them really detailed feedback at the same time. Whilst I'm on feedback's obviously incredibly important to make any sort of progress, as you guys are aware. And some of our home learning assignments, not all of them, but some of them will require feedback from teachers. We also want to note as well that some assessments will now also be submitted using Google Classroom. And what you'll see is, I've just given you a nice little example on my screen here. When students submit, especially extended pieces of writing, teachers may want to give feedback on that as part of their assessment cycle. And you can see that teachers comment directly onto the home learning, and their comments appear in green. I really, really want to urge your son or daughter to read this feedback. Teachers spend a long time doing this, and we want our students to be able to, first of all, see it and then be able to act on it at the same time. All of this will appear on their Google Classroom, because they'll be able to see when the teacher has marked and given feedback. They'll also get an email alert saying that their teacher has given their work back to them with comments. Okay. Whilst I'm talking about Google, I also want to say that all of the students at Roding Valley have access to something called Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is another feature that comes with the Google Mail. And all you need to do is look out for the logo here on your Google Mail tab, and it'll open a drive for you. Now, we're encouraging our students to create folders for each of their individual subjects, and once they've completed home learning, to actually drop that into a folder. so they know that all of their notes can never get lost. All of their home learning assignments are in one place in each subject, and it's a great way of keeping organised and then using this a bit later on for their revision. So I'm not going to run through all of this now because I'm sure lots of you are already aware, but at Roding Valley we have some real tried and tested revision techniques that we really rely on, okay? And we really push these to our Year 10 and Year 11 students in particular, although we do teach these lower down the school as well. And one of those things is Booz and Mind Mapping. Now, if you would like to know more about our Roding Valley High School top revision tips, please visit our website. There's a revision resources tab there. If you click on that, you can download templates of all of these techniques, and you can also see a step-by-step run through on how to actually complete this technique. But all of this stuff we do regularly at school to try and introduce them to these so they feel empowered to use them at home. We've also got our Cornell Notes technique, which is on the board here. We've got Seneca that we try and plug as well at school on a day-to-day basis, and of course our cue cards. But again, all of that information is available on our website under the revision resources tab. So lastly, I just want to take this opportunity to say that if you're a parent of a student in Year 10, 11, 12 or 13, we will be running a virtual parents forum coming in February, so not that far away, on revision techniques, so that we can share those and talk you through them in lots of detail. We did do this face-to-face last year, but of course it will have to be done virtually for this coming February, so keep an eye out for the date in your emails. Thank you very much for listening. If you've ever got any questions about revision, about home learning, or about what happens in the classroom in regards to teaching and learning, please do drop me an email at plarkin@rodingvalley.net. Thank you very much for listening.
It is quite different talking via video instead of actually having a live conversation to let you understand about everything we do to support your child. We as a team are extremely proud about our achievements and how much progress we've made over the last number of years. Staff in Roding Valley go to such lengths to ensure that your child achieves the highest possible grade that they can. I'm sure you've got a lot of questions about the year ahead. Just a few pieces of information about the curriculum. The core subjects will be assessed on the full curriculum, so there is a large amount of content that needs to be covered in full. Some of the other subjects have seen some changes, but they remain challenging. Furthermore, also, if your child decides to go into A-level, they're going to assume that they've got a large base knowledge from GCSEs for them to be successful. So it will be important for them to work right from the start. We've changed the exams slightly this year. We've got a very short exam window now in autumn. It's a formal exam. It's externally invigilated, so it does mimic end of year exam and will be based on previous GCSE papers. But we've shortened it, one exam paper in every subject, to allow staff to get a good indication of where the gaps are and what we need to do to prepare your child for the end of the year exams. And then in spring, we'll have a full pre-public exams that will be the same amount of papers they normally would do in a full exam. It'll be old exam papers. It'll be graded according to the grade boundaries that's been used by the exam boards. So your child will know very well where they are and what the gaps is. And there'll be sufficient time to actually do some work still and actually make sure they close those gaps. Some key dates. We've got the parents' evenings that will be concerns one only. We will actually have a video conversation about strategies to support your child with a concern that they will significantly underperform. We've got the exam starting the 5th of October. There's a sixth form opening evening on the 12th of November. We'll have a parents' evening. It most likely be a virtual parents' evening. And then we've got our final pre-public exam starting on the 1st of February. Now, we have a lot of support in place for subjects. Period 6 on a Monday or Tuesday is focused on supporting your child in English, maths, or science, and we actually at certain stages will look at rotating them between those subjects if the need is there. Period 7 on a Wednesday and Thursday will be a tailored program to support students in specific subjects where they're underperforming or where they have significant gaps. And we will actually evaluate this on a regular basis and then decide if students need to go to a different area to receive support there. We also have online masterclasses to support students, and there will also be a range of online tasks that we set that students can actually use to close the gaps, or actually just to do additional work to prepare them well for the end of the year. Independent study is going to be the key going forward. That will be what prepares your child, and you play a significant role in that. It's more than homework. It's the use of the personalized learning checklist to actually make sure they understand which topics they don't understand. Doing exam questions and exam papers. Speak to your teacher, understand how they mark the papers. Reading key text and really understand that. Make use of the online resources we provide. And make sure you understand the rigor of the new course. And for yourself as well, make sure when we offer the online or the A-level taste lessons later in the year, attend some of those. It'll give you a good indication of what the subject is you want to take in the following year. You will receive fairly closely after this evening a whole pack of information about what you need to do to support your child in every subject. It'll take this format. It'll actually tell you about the subject and what else they can use to prepare in terms of trips they've planned. Unfortunately, this year will be quite different than that, and some key things for them to actually take away and remember about the subject. We will be assessing them on a regular basis in class as well, using GCSE criteria on a single question, a small piece of material, a quiz about knowledge. We'll actually provide some revision material for them. There'll be clear expectations the student will actually revise and achieve a minimum standard in that. And if we're not satisfied where they are, we will provide them with additional support material, and they'll be reassessed after that. We also will look at where we assign them to in terms of targeted intervention. We don't have anything like revision anymore. It will all be very much targeted in terms of underperformers, or with students actually got gaps in their knowledge, and it will be very much focused closing those gaps and to ensure that we prepare them for the end of the year. To be successful in the new GCSE, students will have to display a high level of independence. They'll have to be inquisitive. They'll have to go find out if they're not sure about something. And it's important for them to take it seriously right from the beginning of the year. We have students that actually is very engaged and do all the things we would expect. The staff will do whatever they can to support you to make sure you are successful.
Hello, my name is Tom Price. I am the Assistant Head Teacher for Behaviour and Wellbeing. And as part of my role, I work really closely with all the year progress leaders. And I'd like to spend a bit of time this evening talking about Year 11 and the transition process and some of the things that are going to come up over the next year or so. So the first thing I want to talk about is at the start and at the beginning of the school day. Obviously, we are well aware of the importance of this year, their GCSE year, and everything that comes with that, and in terms of them being away from school for a few months. And I want to start off just by saying how well Year 11 have done during the lockdown period, during the time spent away from school. I'm so impressed with everyone in the year group and how they've taken ownership for their learning. I think this, as a school, as a community, we fared really well during this time period. And the work set, the home learning that was done is really impressive. So the recovery curriculum that will be put in place to catch up on lost time, I think can be done with hard work and effort. And I believe our Year 11s are really set in a good place to do that. That being said, is more crucial than ever that our students are attending school and that their attendance is high, above the 96%, and that they are on time to school, as learning starts from the moment they walk through the gates. Our school day has slightly changed now, and students need to be in school at 8:50 if they're in Year 11, and they'll spend 5 minutes on the playground, and then they'll make their way straight away to their Period 2 lesson that was, and they'll go straight into their learning, and they'll have a day of lessons. It's really important that students are coming through the gate at 8:50, ready to get to their lessons for 9 for a prompt start. We have slightly changed our timetable and adapted it to suit our Year 11s. And they now have what was called form time or period 1. They now have that at the end of the day, and that starts at 3 o'clock. In these sessions, our Year 11 students will do a bit of a mixture. They'll do some interventions as part of our recovery curriculum. So they'll do some of their core subjects, English, Maths, Science. There'll also be an opportunity at a certain point where they'll do some interventions for their option choices. And also, really importantly, they will do some of their character and culture and careers lessons in this time, and also receive their assemblies. And the character and culture and careers and assembly will be on a Friday after school. And it's really important that our students attend these sessions and they're on time, as there'll be lots of important information. So I just spoke about character and culture. Now more than ever, our students need their character and culture sessions. We are all aware of what's happened and what people are going through, what our students are going through, and we have made a real effort for the start of this year to adapt our character and culture and to actually talk about some of the key things involving resilience, involving how we bounce back, involving who we talk to if we need to talk to somebody. And it's really important that our students get a chance to see some of this stuff and have these conversations with their academic mentors about how they're feeling and who they can go to. We also will cover all the leadership, all the resilience, all the LORIC skills they used to be called, independence, and add that, as obviously we know getting the GCSEs and getting good grades is essential, but having another side where they know how to be a leader and how to be resilient, that's going to be really helpful in future employment or moving on to sixth form or whatever it is our Year 11 students choose to do. So just on the screen now, there is just some information regarding some of the character and culture themes for this term. Also, during our period 7, so at the end of the day curriculum, there will be opportunities to discuss careers. Throughout this year, all students will get an opportunity to meet with our careers manager, Miss Mason, who will go through a number of things with our students. I mean, I know some of our Year 11s believe they know where they want to go and believe the career path, which is perfect, and Miss Mason can help them with that. And we will also have some students who aren't sure, and again, Miss Mason is a perfect person to talk to, and she can go through some of the things that are on the screen now to make sure that we really have a reason as to why our students need to get the GCSEs, and gives them a bit of a focus and a bit of an aspiration as to where they want to be at the end of the year. And obviously, we are hoping that a large amount of our Year 11s will return to us in Year 12 to our thriving sixth form. So within the careers support that Miss Mason can offer, there will be guidance meetings. They can discuss post-16 options, apprenticeship workshops, and a virtual careers programme. So throughout this year, Miss Mason and the pastoral team will be working with our Year 11s, looking at their careers and their futures. As is ever, and probably more so than ever, our well-being is really, really important at the moment. And obviously on the screen, I've got some of the things that, you know, are standard and always should be. So having a healthy, balanced diet, exercising, and more important at the moment is that we are able to talk about how we're feeling. This being said, we have created I Am Not Okay at rodingvalley.net, which has been introduced to all of the Roding Valley community. And if they want to talk to someone, dropping that email address, I'm not okay at rodingvalley.net, a quick email, then someone from our pastoral team will pick the students up to have a bit of a chat. As it says there, my door is always open. So will Mr. Ryan's door be open. And at the moment, we have Miss Fazakali and Miss Woods who are stepping in for Mr. Ryan at the moment, and they are always free to talk. I think it's really important, the point on the screen at the moment regarding social media, phones, video games. I know it's really difficult in the current day, but we do need to make sure that we're spending time away from social media and phones. We do need to make sure that in the evening when our children, our students are going to bed, that they can switch off from that. Phones are off, phones are away. so they can get the rest that they need to come into school. And the school day, there is lots going on. As I spoke about the catch-up curriculum, without a proper night's sleep, students will struggle to focus throughout the school day. With regards to the balanced diet, my big thing is students coming in, eating a packet of crisps in the morning, or eating some sweets, or a really sugary drink, a Coke at 8:50 in the morning. Just really basic things. Some fruit, some water would be far better, a cereal bar, than some of the things our kids are eating. And if we can help them with that at home, that would be great. The last thing I really want to talk about is being positive. As I mentioned earlier, our students performed so well during lockdown, and we are really, really proud of what they are doing. And it's really important that us as a school, you as parents, we work together, and we are really positive about what our Year 11s can achieve. And I'm expecting that when we get our GCSE results, it is a really, really positive time for everyone, for parents, for students, for the Roding Valley community. And just having that bit of belief and that bit of confidence and a bit of positive reinforcement is going to go a really, really long way to getting our children into lessons, trying their best, and ultimately getting the grades that they will deserve. So just positivity from everyone, and I expect really good things from our Year 11 this year.
Hello, my name is Mr. Fletcher, and I'd like to introduce you to the sixth form at Roding Valley High School. I'm the director of sixth form, and I'm looking forward to working with both students and parents over the next 2 years. So why study at Roding Valley Sixth Form? It's an academic sixth form which currently grade is outstanding. That means every student is exceeding their target grades. We have some fantastic study facilities in terms of the Brook building with computer rooms and study areas for students to work independently. The personalised timetable allows for students to pick a variety of subjects that suit their needs, and the expectation is that students also study in school as well as attend timetabled lessons. We have high aspirations for all our students, both in terms of what they achieve at sixth form, but also beyond 18, so that we can provide the best foundations for students to meet their ambitions and move on into higher education, apprenticeships, or indeed the workplace. The sixth form is an extremely caring place and friendly place, and any external students are extremely welcome to attend. So, what can you study here at Roding Valley? There's a range of over 30 qualifications, majority of which are A-level standard qualifications, but there are also some BTEC and CTEC qualifications for those students that find the vocational manner of which to learn a more suitable way in which they can develop their academic knowledge. So we'd like to think there's something there for everybody, and we'd like to think the variety is such that there's plenty for people to choose from. In terms of entry requirements, students will be expected to achieve a minimum of 42 points from their best 8 GCSE grades, of which they must achieve English and Maths at minimum grade 4. If they fall slightly short of the 42 points, they will be allowed on a CTEC or BTEC course should they achieve 32 points. They must also meet for A-level subjects a minimum of a grade 6 in any subject they wish to study for A-level. And we anticipate the students buy into the motivated and work ethic that we expect here at Roding Valley. In terms of what courses your son and daughter should choose, I think the most important thing is they choose subjects that they enjoy, subjects they're confident in, and also potentially subjects that might lead them to a further career. But that's not always essential. I think the most important thing is they pick something they've got a genuine interest in and they've enjoyed perhaps lower down the school, or they're looking forward to enjoy beyond sixth form that they may not have studied before. So that gives you just a brief outline of what we have on offer here at Post 16 in Roding Valley High School. I would like to welcome you to join me for the sixth form open evening in November, and I look forward to working with both yourselves and your parents over the next couple of years. But equally, if you have any questions or queries between now and whenever, please do contact me at school. I'll do my very best to get back in touch. Thank you very much.
Finally, let me thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation. I am sorry that we can't share this with you on site as we would have done normally. If you do have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact myself or any member of the team who have spoken to you tonight or shared information with you.